So much for that introduction, Blake. Again, my name is Elle Halo. Or Elle Hill. I'm an LGBTQ health equity advocate. I serve and support the community in various ways. Over the last few years, my advocacy has grown into community organizing, political engagement, sexual and public health education, policy development, and oversight. And I have to tell you that serving 2 terms with Milwaukee Public Allies has changed my life. More important than the logistical benefits that come from a year of AmeriCorps service, more than even building collaborative networks, more than making new friends and better relationships with my colleagues, more than those bigger things and those deliverables, I think the waterfall effect, the seeds of life that were affirmed, spoken, given, witnessed, planted, and rooted, those are the ripples that will continue to push my life and work forward. I learned to self-advocate, how to navigate, build resources, build new skill capacities, and most importantly, I learned to trust in myself and my expertise while being an ally. Just from having the space to reflect and grow with people whom, although we don't all look like each other, we share some of the same goals and struggles and barriers. I learned to set intentions in my career and was affirmed in my beliefs about family and community and justice, things that I had always believed in or felt connected to, but couldn't quite find the language to express. For you to understand what has brought me here, I want to tell you a little bit more about myself. I want to be sincere. As we meet certain goals or pass certain milestones, unlearning must come with that. Unlearning self-doubt, hate, ignorance, unlearning fear, unlearning that being vulnerable automatically makes you a victim. Sometimes our vulnerabilities can be strengths. I'm a proud Black woman of trans experience, and while that journey started almost 8 years ago, I feel like it's taken me my whole life to grow up and become who I was meant to be. I believe my transition is a physical manifestation of my prayers, of things that were so personal, I had never spoken them out loud. I'm just a little brown girl trying to make it out of the hood alive. I believe in this time in my life is about reaping the seeds that I've planted and those that were planted for me by others with love and intention. Like Blake mentioned, my mom is a minister. I was always creative and academic. I worked for many years as a women's stylist after I dropped out of college. And as I started heading towards my transition, I experienced extreme depression and became unstable in work. After I transitioned, I started getting involved with community work just because it had been years since I found consistent work. I eventually was asked to lead a service day training for PA Milwaukee at Diverse and Resilient with some of the other ladies from Sheba, Sisters Helping Each Other Battle Adversity, which is a support program for Black trans women. This session was a small manifestation of the type of educator I had always wanted to be. I then applied and began my journey as an ally. I actually worked for AmeriCorps before as a CAP counselor, and I had always known about public allies, but didn't think I was qualified enough to apply in the past. I had an original placement that backed out of the program just as we were starting, but I knew in my gut that PA could be a vehicle to launch me closer to my goals and dreams. But I was so scared I was going to get dropped from the program. I dug into my email contacts and used job search tools and even scheduled my own outside interviews, literally walking into these interviews with these people like, I'm really not here for the job position. I just want you to maybe take me on as an ally. And so we did that for some months. And then eventually I was sponsored to be placed at Health Connections, Inc., which was a transgender health organization that I actually had started my medical transition at many moons ago. And they also had hosted in the past someone who is a colleague of mine now, another alumni as their ally, another transgender alumni as their ally. So I felt like it was full circle to be there. I felt like it also was starting to build out a legacy of transgender allies being placed there. So Anthony, we got to work on them becoming a partner again too. I went on to become a national social media ambassador for the Black AIDS Institute that year and was encouraged and supported to bring my areas of work and service together. I think it makes all the difference, again, just to have the trust of those that support you, um, just to have their trust to know that they know that you are more than capable. I learned to navigate and build my own resource relationships and build networks with the relationships I already had. I also started speaking about Sheba as a group and trying to bring as much visibility to it as I could with every new platform and opportunity. I already had access to so much that I just didn't know I did. My favorite tip to give new allies is read your emails, even the ones that you don't think apply to you. There's so much work to be done and nothing but opportunity and space to do it. And sometimes we ourselves are the barrier to accessing that opportunity, to making that step, to being brave and pushing the envelope and breaking those barriers. So give yourself that space and keep your eye out for opportunities. And sometimes even when something doesn't seem like it'd be a fit for you, apply anyway, email them anyway, start a conversation anyway, and just see what comes of it. I went on to become a PA MKE fellow and became the Inclusion Health Program Specialist for Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin. And now 2 years later, almost 2 years later, I'm still serving in that role as a consultant. We brought gender affirming health services and hormone replacement therapy statewide in a historic rollout during the pandemic. And I received the PA MKE Diversity and Inclusion Award both of my years of service, of ally service, as well as received the Rising Star Award for volunteerism from the Black Trans Advocacy Coalition, became a Bobby Jean Baker Trans Faith grantee, and even won a Milwaukee Pride Fest Individual of the Year Award, all during these 2 years of service. I also independently applied for and received 2 grants from Juvenile Justice and was a national winner of the Gender Reveal Podcast Grant. I learned how to become an effective social media manager and fundraiser as an ally. And all of this was with much trial and error, laughter, tears, hugs, meals, and accomplishments held with my cohorts for both years. Some rough mid-years and hard lessons later, I am better and more confident and experienced for it, and you will be too. Now I get to use social media, modeling, writing, art, and even music to reach people. I'm still building a business and a career as a consultant and figuring out what that means. I'm an independent advocate, so I get to do the work that I'm called to do, and it resonates with my heart, and that's a privilege and a blessing, but it also comes with its own barriers. I do it in a world where people are not used to seeing a young Black woman of trans experience in leadership or executive roles, where I'm often still the only person who looks like me in many of the spaces I have to go. But I have to go into those spaces that don't have faces that look like ours, to, again, push that envelope and break that glass ceiling. It comes with disappointment sometimes in other leaders, in colleagues, in community, and sometimes even in yourself, when you let yourself down or when you feel like you're letting community down. But it also comes with many blessings and the opportunity to be a blessing to others. I went into allies a victim, ashamed and stuck and walked over by the system. And I left it as my own boss, as an influencer and a thought leader, a mobilizing public speaker. And most importantly, I left my allies journey, or rather enter my journey as an alumni and facilitator for PA as a better woman and with more family, biological and chosen, than I can count. I love my people. I love our people. I love y'all. I send y'all love and energy, and I want the best for our people. And you, each and every one of you, are in big ways and small ways are a part of that and building the type of world we actually want to live in a world where we don't hate it here. And I wish you well on your journeys. I encourage those joining us to invest in you. I encourage you to invest in your education and re-education. And I'm here to talk or to be a resource however I can. I also am working on self-care and healing and setting boundaries and leaving toxic environments. And it's hard for all of us. So be kind to each other and be kind to yourself. and give people grace, just not grace that they don't deserve. And with that, I will pass it back to Ontavia, and I appreciate